Well, thanks for having me back. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
yeah, definitely. And you've got your book ready, I assume.
Yep. I mean, you want to continue on the same book on self-publishing, or do you want to discuss my other book on inspiring women? Either way is
Um,
cool by me.
yeah, I mean, we really kind of left it.
Yeah, midstream on this one.
Yeah, so let's finish that one.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so
Well, I'm in your
you ready?
hands.
Welcome back, or if this is your first time, welcome to Reading Between the Words podcast. This is where we dive into the spaces between the words, which is where meaning and wisdom stirs. Join us as we open the door between the page and the person. You'll hear the heart of the author, the purpose behind the book, and the transformation to ignite your life or your business.
Here we have Rodney back with us. We actually got short on time last time we were together. It was just such a great conversation, but we're going to continue on. So, Rodney, tell us again a little bit about your book and about yourself.
Sure. I am a self-publishing consultant and author services provider of just over 15 years now. I love what I do. I'm also an author. Have a few books out, one on inspiring women, and I'm probably more focused right now on my self-publishing series. And I've got the first version, edition of
There we
that
go.
out
Yeah,
called
for
The
those seeing
Modern
the
Author.
video, yeah, to bring it back because it was so bright.
Yeah, there we go.
There.
The
Wow.
focus is a trick.
Yeah,
There we go.
the
The Modern
modern
Author.
author. Love
And
that it's
that's designed to be a series of probably three, probably four books. The Modern Author kind of gives you your bearings in the industry
right.
today. The next book will be more a deeper dive into the 10 aspects of self-publishing, creating or production, creating a book and getting it professionally published on your own. And then the next books will continue with author platform and then strategic growth strategies like publicity and co-promotions and things. So
Okay.
never, not enough time in the day to get it all out there yet.
No, there's not. Series books are great too because you're finishing one up and it's like, oh, good, we get more information in the next one, and so on.
Yes.
And then they get updated too, which is really great. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Good point.
yeah, so let's get into your book again. And we were talking about it before, talking a lot about you and your business. So where do you want to start today?
Oh man. I have an idea. I'm just checking my table of contents because my thought is this passage that was actually fairly requested by betas in the
Okay.
back. So this book, it's called The Modern Author, and it's based on my 15 years in the business and the best practices I've observed, the pitfalls that self-published authors go through that I've observed, some things that can really save you a lot of heartache and a lot of money
Nice.
and end up with a professional quality book. So a
Right.
large part of this book is redefining words, redefining industry terms like bestseller is a great example uh, because that's taken advantage of a lot. Um, for example, well, here, I'll read from the book. That's page 34. Is that cool? Good idea?
That's great. Go for it. I like to hear what the book says too.
Actually, I'll start here where it talks about words on page
Okay.
34. The following updated definitions might save you a lot of time, heartache, embarrassment, and cash, and are shared here to give you clarity and a chance at professionalism in your publishing. Note that things change. In fact, I now have a 13 plus year career and experience to reflect upon. This is 2 years ago. In that time, self publishing as a term has gone from taboo to something to be proud of. There are many examples of significant and important changes in meaning. So stay flexible as you move forward. Situational awareness. All of these affect publishing, whether you're in it for your memoir, book of expertise, and especially if you're envisioning a career or retirement as an author. The first thing I talk about is what I call the ignorance gap,
Okay. Let's hear what that is.
right? This is what I call the difference between what's in your mind and what's in reality, if different. Certain terms have evolved over the years since the introduction of digital publishing, print on demand publishing, and self publishing in general, although people have on occasion self published throughout history, however difficult. So if someone suggests they can make you a best selling author for a fee, make sure they mean what you think they mean. It might not be they can get you on the New York Times bestseller list with thousands of sales during a big hoopla of a launch week. It might be they know how to place you in the Amazon niche category with little competition where you can be ranked in the top 100 books and almost no sales. Both scenarios are technically bestsellers, as we'll discuss. If you are aware of this ignorance gap, you can simply avoid or step over them, ignorance gaps, or get terms better defined and make actual plans that achieve your hopes and dreams for your book or an author career if that's what you seek. And that's one of the major importances of the book you hold. It eliminates ignorance gaps.
That is so important. I'm glad you wrote about that and you're telling people of it. Because so many people say, "Oh, I want to be a best-selling author," and then other people hear that you're a best-selling author. "Oh, how many books did you sell?" And it's like, well, there's an algorithm to everything, even on the New York Times bestsellers list, which, is great. I mean, you've got to have something in a way to get things done. Um, and there's nothing wrong with being a best-selling author, whether it's on Amazon or the New York Times or Wall Street or whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with it. Be proud of it if you've done it or if you're getting ready to do it. But like you said, know what that really means and know what that means for you and where do you really want to go? Is this just a first step to find out what it's like, test the water, see um, what it's like to produce a book and all the things that go on with it? It's a great experience to do that. But what do you really want to have happen with that book? I remember in Clubhouse, first time I was there was February of, I think it was 2022. Never heard of it before. And I was introduced to it, and one of the rooms was, um, "You've given birth to the book, now raise it." And it's like, what does that even mean? You
Mhm.
know? And so it's there's a learning curve in everything, whether it's a tough one or not a tough one. That depends on the journey that you take. But I mean, most people that have their books, some are very happy just to have the book and have it printed and have it out there, and that's it. That's all they wanted done with it. Others go, "Well, I'd really like, at least to sell some to know that," because to them that means that people like the book, that they're telling others about it. And that was what's important to them is the book itself, the content of it. And then you have those who want it as a career. Well, maybe they don't want to be as well known as Stephen King, with paparazzi and everything, but yet they want to be known well enough that people look forward to buying their books all the time so they can make a substantial living at it or make a living at it. It just depends on what they want to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, I'm in the modern author. I talk about the four types of authors that I've worked with through the years. And today, fast forward today, I still all along I had the instinct to discuss goals first and foremost with an author to make sure that we achieve them. Or if New York Times, because some of them would say, I want to be a New York Times bestselling author. And I'll explain what that entails. And that's often not really where you should put your energy and resources
Right.
once you understand what it can take, or it might be. And for example, what I mean is if that truly is a goal, and it's cool if it is,
Yeah.
understand you're going to want to provide for a certain distribution strategy, and you're going to want to provide for an extended, now extended doesn't mean what it used to mean, but extended launch period. Everything's gotten much tighter. In the past, I knew an old time publicist, and he told me once the book's ready, after beta reads and it's all ready to go, he wanted a year to get
Right.
things lined up before the official launch. And then traditional houses would release a hardcover alone for a year before releasing paperback and other editions. And that's
Oh,
all changed now.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has. Yeah. And
So,
then being able to, publish yourself. doing the self-publishing. It's also called indie publishing, through Amazon, through all of these different resources that are out there, Books by Ingram Sparks, and there's so many more, Lulu, and there's just so many that's available. And so you want to make sure that your book gets to where it's going to do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
And I think your book would come in very well for that.
Yeah. I think it takes both knowledge of the market because you've got to understand what role Ingram plays, Kindle, Lulu, special publishing houses. And there's the alternative of not using Kindle and printing your own copies and being an Amazon seller instead. But it all so there's a knowledge of what your options are, and that's what this first book is designed to help you understand. The other half of that is your own objectives, and it's going to vary from author to author, but you can grossly divide that into about four categories, as I had, mainly two: the credibility avenue and the professional author avenue, and they're different. They
Mhm.
overlap. You can Venn diagram them, they overlap, but they can be much different and change your tactics. So once you understand those two things, and this isn't a big deal that with any product or business, I highly recommend a one-page business plan, one page, and a short form book proposal of about 1,500 words. And with those two tools and what those steps will run you through, really, really will bring a light years of clarity and save you and understanding and put you on a really good path. Whether you just want that book to raise your rates as a consultant, or if you want to get out of your cubicle in 5 years and live on the beach as an author. They're
Yeah.
both attainable. They're both hard science now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and that's, one thing that I always talk to someone who asks me about what writing a book or what they want to. The very first question is, what do you want to get out of this? Why are you doing it?
That's right.
Well, I guess it's kind of a two-part because your why is just a moment.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna hit pause here.
Funny, I lost, I swear, a week to, but it's over.
Okay, let's get going.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
I don't even know what we were talking
That's all right. We're talking about the business.
Yeah,
Be happy to continue with a segment if you want.
yeah. Let's see what else you got in that book of yours.
Well, it progresses through, it talks about a little bit of the history from my perspective, uh,
Okay.
how the industry has evolved and how things have changed, a little background, which I think is actually maybe more helpful to understand that than people realize.
Yeah.
And
There's Go ahead.
the parts of what I call the 10 aspects of best practices of book production, as I have kind of figured out through the years, including editing, design, production, post launch.
Oh, yeah.
I've got them
There's so
listed out
much.
there.
Yeah. I think it's really important for people to understand what the industry was like and the changes going on through and what it's like today. Um, because it actually helps change your thought, not change your thought, but shape your thought to what you really want to do with your book, and make sure that you don't get into these pitfalls, these places that are going to do you more harm than good, and how to avoid them. Because it's you don't want a bad experience with your writing, and if you've had a bad experience already, it's not all like that.
That's
Get
right.
a hold of Rodney, get a hold of me. We'll find a good experience for you. There are a lot of really good publishers, a lot of people who will help you get your book written and maybe even printed, but get it ready to be marketed. Um, so so try again, or if you had a bad experience with your book and it's been a couple of years, you're not contract anymore. Let's see what we can do with your books to turn it into a good experience.
Yeah, that's actually a powerful point, I think, because a whole future can change based on a bad experience. I
Yeah.
learned that in other places in my life. And when I got into books, so to speak, 15 years ago, I decided I wasn't going to make any of those mistakes because this was it. I'd finally found at 40, I'd finally found my path. I'd
Good.
been kind of denying it all. At least I found it at 40, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
And you have people like me who are in their 60s before they get started.
yeah. And you know,
Yes.
it's funny you
You
say
find it.
that. Colonel Sand, I just saw a clip of Colonel
Yeah.
Sanders. I think he was 65 when he
Yeah,
started
right. Yeah, right
Kentucky
around
Fried
there.
Chicken.
So I'm in good company. I got a
Yeah,
little early
there's
start.
that's right. You got a jump start. Whether you looked at it that way or not.
That's right.
So um yeah, that's a maybe a behind the curtain kind of tip. Don't and it's I would say it's even more you're even more susceptible to a bad experience that you cause versus an outside caused bad experience. And what I
Right.
mean is when you compromise, like let's
Mhm.
say you found a publisher and they had a pushy editor and they wanted you to make changes you kind of disagreed with, but you did it.
Yeah,
You've kind of taken a bite out of your own career right there because you're going to lose the pizzazz to a
yeah,
degree,
you do.
possibly. So when
But
I
you
consult,
can't,
when I work with someone long term, I try to preserve as sacred their interest and their joy and take the things they don't want to do off their hands.
yeah.
And you can find somebody to do that. There are automated ways to do that, but the first step is to understand what pitfalls to avoid.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten your book yet, so I'm waiting for it to get here.
Oh shoot.
So excited about it. Um, there's a lot of stuff to learn. And it's like, well, why would I want one? You're a competitor. We're not competitors. There's over 8 billion people in the world. We're not competitors. There's enough to go around, but we also learn from each other and we encourage each other and we help each other grow.
Yep.
And and that's helping you get your career going to where you want it, your book career, or even if it's one book, but to make sure it's the best experience you can have, you
Yeah, and
know.
I understand you're an excellent coach. I do understand that. And the other thing again, you touched that's a good point because I think in our industry, maybe it's a little weird. It's not so maybe because we're all so different.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like competition. In fact, I've worked on projects with other
me too.
companies, right? You get assembled in teams. Um, I'm
It's
aware of maybe who not to work with, and I'm aware of who to work with, either based on having worked with them or at least observed over 15 years how who's
yeah,
still around,
yeah.
and if they're still around after 15 years, they're doing something correct.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, there will be clients who won't be a fit with me and will be a fit with you and vice versa. So,
Exactly.
and there's
Exactly.
8 billion people and everybody should write a book.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I had somebody who, just for the type of book they wanted to write, I says, I'm not the one you need to choose, but here's some others that would be really great for this. And And it's like they were a little taken back at first, but it's like, look, we're all in this together. We want to make sure you get the best person for your book. And if
Mhm.
it's not me, I need to let you know I don't want you to have a bad experience with it. I don't want you to be unhappy with your book. And if someone else can make it that much better, then more power to both of you, really.
Right. There's a great scene in Elf where James Caan, his two writers come in, they're looking for a solution and they
Yeah.
recommend bringing in Miles Finch. And James Caan says, let me get this straight. My two top writers, my crack team, their advice is bring in another writer. And they go, Miles Finch. He goes, I like it.
It's
It's
funny.
kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
It is. And I was watching the man who invented Christmas about Charles Dickens when he wrote Scrooge, and he really wanted the best illustrator. And the
Yeah.
illustrator says, "Oh, this isn't the one for me." He goes, well, who's a better illustrator than you? Well, no one. Then you're the best illustrator for me. And they made it work. But that's what
Yeah.
you do. I have someone who wants to do their own illustrations for their books, so I can't give that to somebody else. It's something they do. But that's a lot of pride that they take in what they're doing. And when now it's showcasing what they're able to do.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Just a wonderful person to work with. Um,
Yeah.
but
I've
it's
learned from
I
every interaction I've
tired.
had.
Yes, you have to. You have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you stop that, you're dead. You kind of,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
the
yeah, but once you
reversal.
quit learning, you quit really existing. You're
Yeah.
just there. Um, you're not growing. When I was a kid, I was told when you stop learning, you start dying. And I was a really little kid, and that was kind of a scary thing to say. And it's something I didn't understand, but as I grew older, I began to understand what they said is that learning process is ongoing, no matter what you do, whether you're cleaning house, baking pies, fixing cars, anything that you're doing, you're learning all the time.
Yeah.
And you're learning about raising kids or learning about being an empty nester. There's always something you're learning about. When you quit learning, you quit living life. So it's we're all students, I guess, of life, if nothing else.
Yeah. It's funny it comes up because I paid attention to the subject of pedagogies and how we learn and personalized learning. And just out of the blue, a colleague referred, we're working together. Uh, Fabulous branding expert I've worked with for probably 13 years out of Australia, named Lauren Clement and the Audacious Agency. But she brought a client who has an amazing book on learning. And I'm learning about learning from the learning book, from the project. So yeah, every collaboration can be customized. This is really the beauty of a decentralized industry because I learned from every interaction. I've been part of teams where I'm the writer. I've been part of teams where I do everything but the cover. I've been part of teams where I was strictly the consultant, and I brought in writers and a proofreader and a cover design. So again, it's high. That's really one of the amazing, beautiful things about self-publishing is it's completely customizable. In the
Yes.
old days, I think a writer would find an editor, for example, that they gel with and stick with them for decades, right?
Right. Right.
And today, it's just even more diversified. You can, if you're self-publishing, you can assemble and develop a team over time,
Yeah.
and it gets easier. It gets
Yeah.
easier and easier,
Definitely.
and even more fun, actually.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to make real adjustments. Had an illustrator for a children's book I was doing, and something happened. I don't remember now if there was an accident or an illness or something, but it was something on that basis. So I had to find a new illustrator.
Mm.
Well, once you have an illustrator, you've already got something in line. You've already started a process, and every illustrator is different. Um, so I just met another illustrator who has these bold colors and just I don't know, geometric designs and all of this, totally different from what I was going for. But it's like, hey, it might work. He's done a lot of great work for other books. So it's like, let's see if I'm flexible enough on this, or do I have to start, and it's kind of like starting all over again, but it's not because I've already got the vision in place and I've got what I want all the illustrations to be. Um, but yet the pictures are going to be different, but that's okay. It's going to be different. Um,
Yeah.
but it was kind of a hard decision. Now, do I go with something like this, or do I go with something that's a little more traditional that everybody else has? And kind of excited with doing something that's a little more cutting edge and not quite the typical, especially on a children's book. And it's like, well, let's see what happens with it and see where it goes.
Yeah, I found when I do work in teams or when another pro is brought in, It's a meeting somebody professionally for the first time. I'm not cautious, careful about it, respectful and very open to the
Yeah,
experience if you're working with a person who's free of the burden of ego.
oh,
Because
yeah,
if they're not free of the burden of ego, it can get competitive or they feel threatened. Or I
right.
was brought in on a project where, because I do every part of the process, right? So I was
Yeah,
brought in a project where I was going to handle, I wasn't, there was a writer, there was a proofreader, and there was a cover designer. So I made it very clear to everybody, that's your wheelhouse. I'm here to do these
that's
other
right.
things, the production and so on. But when it does work out, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
It's a large part of what's forwarded my own skills is to work with other people and see other ideas. It's well established that uh, diversity in any, whether it's, even if it's race, if it's skills, diversity brings strength because it brings a variety of solutions. The thing that
yes,
diversity can lack, or that will make diversity stronger, is team building. Because by nature, if you're coming from diverse backgrounds or skills or whatever, you need something to bond together. And very often, if you came from the same school, you've already got some of that, for example, same neighborhood, whatever. So I learned that on a book I helped write about project management 15 years ago. So it's been wonderful. But the point I want to add is how wonderful the collaborations, even with non-pro authors, can be. So cover
oh,
design is a great example. I'll submit a few cover design ideas, and very often an author will then say, "Well, what if we did these things?" And we make those changes, and then I step back and I go, "That's a better cover than I would have been able to have designed on my own." So the collaboration, when it's regarded, when it's well regarded and valued and understood, what great can come from a collaboration when it's a good process, is usually greater than the sum of parts,
yeah.
and better than what, in that example, what either one of us would have come up with independently, honestly. And it's humbling. It's also exciting. So
It is. It is. Tell us a little bit more about what we can find in your book.
sure. Looking at the time, I may skip to that part I mentioned.
Okay.
There's this part about different types of, well, there's a lot that I'd want to read the whole book. So, but let me go to this part that seemed to have been,
That would be an audio book.
yes, it needs to be. It's going to be soon. So this is called Your Journey is Sacred. And one of my longtime author clients uh, recommended it. Um, I forget in what context, but it came, and a couple of people liked it. It stood out for them. So this little part in the back of the book, I'm kind of wrapping things up, and it's a
Okay.
subheading called Your Journey is Sacred. And I have a quote. I have quotes all throughout the book. This quote is from a song called Fire in the Horizon by the band Stick Figure. And it says, "So many miles I've walked, so many rivers I've crossed, so many battles I've lost, make me who I am today. And when tomorrow it comes, there'll be a brand new sun. This song is not over, it's just begun." And then I started, while we each have our own reasons for writing and publishing a book or books, before we part for now, maybe a story of my own will encourage you to do it. If this has been the back burner for a while, encourage you to embrace mistakes and encourage you to perhaps focus on what really matters to you. The hero's journey is, of course, filled with challenges and triumphs. We win from a healthy process, and when seen in the right light, we might win even more from our mistakes and losses. What did I win from this process, from writing this book? We talked about the ahas that often come along with creating a book, and I had a few really nice ones working on this first book in the planned trilogy. For one, I had to finally streamline my process and organize it into stages. I had realizations about the process, like with writing to market, for example, and how it moves a few steps around but still works. But the big one happened just today. While I was editing this, I started writing this book with a long-standing kind of defensive position that, perhaps even rightly, insisted, quote, self-publishing is something to be proud of. end quote. True enough, and it makes sense because I came up in what might be the early days when self-publishing was often attacked and more mediocre books were being produced. But as I was editing and revising, it flowed right out of me. Self-publishing is a profession. How great. Of course it is. I was able to let go of the now inferior idea of simply insisting on being proud of it. I feel like someone younger might look at me, maybe my daughter, strangely and say, well, of course it does. Duh. But I got to watch it, the industry, get there. So we learn and develop from a healthy process. Our wins are steps up in awareness. And with a patient eye, we learn and grow from our mistakes. It goes on, but I think that's probably a
I
good
love
spot.
that. That's just, yeah. That's a great way to end your book. I know there's a little more after that, but yeah, so true.
Well, thanks so much for the opportunity. I've done a lot of podcasts, but I've done very few where I do an actual reading. And I
Oh,
think it's brilliant that you do that.
oh,
It's been
thank you.
kind of reinvigorating thing for me. Um,
Yeah. So tell
and
us,
you're
sorry.
no, I was going to say you're just a joy
Oh,
to
thank
converse with. So
So, yeah, tell us the name of your book again and
sure.
where we can go get it.
Okay, good. Well, I've got good news. It's called The Book Dude's Guide to Self-Publishing, Volume 1, The Modern Author by Rodney Miles, with a foreword by Lauren Clement, actually, who I mentioned in this
Oh,
call. It's available everywhere. It's distributed wide, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold, really. The ebook is wide as well, I believe.
okay.
Print. The audiobook is about to be produced. And I will say that you can get it for free as a PDF on my website. You can get actually a bundle I have there to get a
Oh,
self-publishing person started.
wow.
It's an email sign up. I don't even do it yet, but I'm about to do a monthly newsletter. No more than that, probably, unless there's announcements. And you can get that full copy of the Modern Author as a PDF for free. You can also get 2 or 3 other PDFs that I have in there, like a Gantt chart on the process,
Oh,
a document
nice.
that gives you all the links for Ingram and Kindle and the Library of Congress, the copyright, and gives you a little paragraph on advice on how to obtain those things. And I think I added another third or fourth PDF on how to order wholesale copies once your book is published with Ingram Spark, which
Okay.
it's just that was based on how common that question is for me.
Yeah. And it
So
was very different than I thought it would be.
yeah, and they just changed it actually. Believe it or not, in the last 6 months,
Very
the
different.
yeah, which is it's slightly improved,
Okay.
but it is improved, and if you're just finding it for the first time, it's not gonna. It is,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But Ingram consistently tries to make slight improvements along the way, which is
Okay.
cool.
Good.
Ease of
And
use improvements.
right. And what's your website, Rodney?
RodneyMiles.com.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I love having websites after our names.
Yeah.
Makes it easy to remember. Rodney, thank
Yes.
you so much for being here on my show today.
Sure.
And I really encourage everyone, if you've even thought about maybe wouldn't it be kind of nice to write a book or have your own book, get Rodney's book, especially since you can get it free on his website and read it and see what it's really all about before you get started. Even if you're a little overwhelmed, don't worry about it. You have Rodney, you have me, you have lots of other people out there, and we can give you names too if you need, if you don't want ours. No worries there of people who can help you through the process and help you write what you want. Everybody has their own style. So don't give up, take that step, go for it. Doesn't hurt anything to at least, read a free book, see what it's all about.
That's right. I think you and I are both like the Santa at Macy's. If we don't have the toy, we'll tell you where to get it.
That's right.
So, because there's
That's
plenty
right.
of business, there's plenty of
Oh,
uh
sure.
it's actually less competitive than you would think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Rodney, so much for being here. And we'll see you all next time on Reading Between the Words or Wisdom on the Front Porch, because this is going to go on both of them. It's good information.
I hope today's conversation on Reading Between the Words gave you a glimpse into the heart behind the book and sparked something new for your life or business. If you loved this episode, join the conversation share it with a friend, leave a review, or reach out and let us know what spoke to you. We appreciate your support of this podcast, and remember, your words have power too. Go to lskirkpatrick.com/podcast.